Okay, pleasant good morning to one and all participating this morning. On behalf of Caribbean Export and the UKTP project under the IT's International Trade Center, I want to welcome you to this second webinar. This is one of 3 series that we're having looking at market intelligence, addressing different sectors. And today we will be focusing on the alcoholic beverages. For Caribbean Export, this is a very important project, very important collaboration together with the International Trade Center under the UKTP project. For us, it's important to, in this collaborative effort, as some of you may be aware, Caribbean Export has its market intelligence tools. The International Trade Center also have this its trade intelligence tools. But we see the importance of working on this and understanding the new aspects of the different tools and how it can continue to enhance your development of your exporting plans, developing your own projects and your own businesses. And it's important for us to be collaborating here to ensure that as we go with all the regional development and private sector development, that there is no duplication of efforts, but that we are enhancing each other's efforts and we are complementing what each other is doing. So on that footing, Caribbean Export is really pleased to be working together with ITC. For you, the business persons in alcoholic beverages, we know that this tool can be very useful to you, as I indicated before, in planning, in doing your exporting plans, in doing your business plans to help you to gauge. And I believe now that as we're going through this pandemic period, being appreciative of what is taking place in the market, having an appreciation of the different markets where you would like to trade, or probably sometimes, as we go through the tool, we've noticed that, there are areas where you realize you think you'll be trading, but you're not making the max of your capacity there. And these are some of the benefits of better understanding the different tools that are out there for you to be able to utilize as you seek to enhance your business and take advantage of, probably, I don't want to say the lockdown situation, but take advantage of the time that we have now to retool and to restructure as we re-engage in this new paradigm that we're operating in. So without much further ado, I will hand you over to Pichaya, and this morning's session will be moderated by Natasha Walcott here at Caribbean Export. But thanks again for participating, and we look forward to an active and interactive session this morning. And we really do hope that will be to your benefit as we seek to enhance your ability to continue to increase your exports and reach as many markets as possible. So once again, thank you very much, and do have a very productive day today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alison. Good morning, everyone. My name is Pichaya, and today I will be delivering 90-minute webinars on ITC's market analysis tools. I'm not here alone. I'm with my colleague Hannah, who will be answering your question in the chat box. This is how we are going to proceed. If you have any question at any time, please submit it to the chat box, and Han will answer some of them. And if it is a question that is useful for other audience, other participants, we will answer it directly through the live demonstration and share with you the answer. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing 4 tools in total, but first of all, let me share with you the objectives of this webinar. Is a little bit about the project. We inform you what we're going to do under this within this framework. We will discuss about the role of trade intelligence in the future export success, especially given the fact that there's an ongoing pandemic, and perhaps we reassessed different markets and the available opportunities for our product today, which is rum. And we will go into the live demonstration where I show you not exhaustive, but some of the features that are available and that you can use in order to conduct market analysis. So just to manage your expectation, since today's session is only 90 minutes, not all features and functionalities of the tools will be demonstrated. I will do a full demonstration meaning that I will select the product, which is rum today. I will take the scenario of an exporter from a Caribbean country doing a market research, preliminary market research only. So you will be able to see the main features and functionality that you can replicate for your own analysis at home. However, I will not cover everything yet because that is a part of our capacity building offer under the UKTP project. So this particular project aimed to increase export flow from ACP country, Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific country to United Kingdoms and Europe, and create sustainable and inclusive job for women and also vulnerable community. The intervention include component on trade intelligence, which including activities such as upgrading the trade information services of institution within the country or region, and creating a monitoring mechanism for the non-tariff barriers in order to improve the business environment, because we all know that a transparent business environment is conducive to more investment and more trade. Okay, so in the next slide, I will show you that for the UKTP Caribbean region, the outputs will be that firm and institution are aware and understand how to use preferential trade agreements and activate market opportunities. Next is to create, like I mentioned before, a more transparent business environment for export to the UK and EU, and also for more investment flows as well. This is important. Now, trade intelligence tools as key to SME export success. Why is that so? Because just because you have a product does not necessarily mean that you can export. A good exporter prepare himself to export and to achieve in the target market, and to be able to succeed in entering a target market. Okay, so that means there's many things that he has to do. He has to prepare himself to meet the market requirements of the importing country. Perhaps he also have to secure finance. And how do we do secure finance for his company or his product? That is because perhaps he has to develop business plans, etc. And in order to develop business plan, he have to have an understanding about his product, the global markets, the target markets, etc. to present a feasible business plan. And in order to do so, you can use ITC's market analysis tools, which is 100% free for all users in developing country. All you have to do is register for an account, and that's it. You have full access to all the tools that I will be presenting today. So we're going to look at three aspects in total. We're going to look at the demand side. We're going to discuss market access conditions. And we're going to show you as well how to potentially find partners in a target market. You see that all this information really help businessmen, business persons around the world make strategic decisions and achieve additional exports. Because perhaps you're here with me, you're already exporting, but perhaps you want to upscale your business operation. You want to upscale your business and export to more products because you have excellent product in your hands, and you would like to export it to different countries around the world. Now, of course, in different markets also have different preferences, also have different market requirements, etc., different structure. So that means you have to be ready to export to new markets. And trade intelligence can help you export and help you export smartly, help you make market analysis, make choices that are data driven and not only based on instinct. Every business person have instinct, but that instinct should be complemented by the right information, of course. Today we're going to be discussing 4 tools in total. The first one will be Trademap, followed by Export Potential Map and Market Access Map and EPing, which are basically focusing on market access condition. What you will notice is that all the tools on the left-hand side, which are Trademap and Market Access Map, looking at the trade that is happening right now or taken place a few months before, a month or years before. The same with Market Access Map, looking at market access conditions that are in place that you have to comply to and the tariffs that will be applied to your product. However, the tools on the right-hand side is forward-looking. For example, export potential map talk about the untapped export potential in the next 5 years by 2024. And EPing also discuss market and product requirements that will become enforced in the future. Okay, so they give you the notification for new requirements. So you have the tools that are reactive and the tools that are proactive. Okay. Before we do so, let's talk a little bit about the harmonized system, which is very, very important for us. The harmonized system nomenclature is called, in short, the HS code. It is basically an international nomenclature defined by the World Customs Organization for classification of products. This means it allows participating country to classify traded goods on a common basis for custom purposes. It comprises of approximately 5,300 product description that appear in chapter, heading, and subheading. So basically, this is a code that is internationally recognized. So the codes that we talk about today will be on ROM, which is 220840. When you go to the custom officer and you say to him, 220840, the custom in Barbados, the custom in Jamaica, the custom in Belgium, the custom in Thailand understand the same thing. So it's a classification of your product in numeric, numeric method. Okay, numerical method. So to be more specific, I will show you the next slide. You see that we talked about before that harmonized system is classified by chapter, heading, subheadings, and chapter has 2 digits. Okay, chapter 22 represents beverages, spirits, and vinegar. So it's a very big chapter that comprises of all types of product. It could even include, for example, soda like Pepsi, like Coca-Cola. It also fall into this chapter. However, if you add additional numbers to the code 22, that, for example, 2202, you're only exclusively talking about water. 2204, you're only talking about wine. Okay, red, white, wine is 2204. And 2208, we're talking about spirits, liquor. And then again, at subheading level, when you add 2 more zeros, when you add 2 more digits to have 6-digit number, 220830, you're only talking about whiskey. 220840, you're only talking about rum. 220860, you're only talking about vodka. So this means that the more numbers you add to the code, the more specific it becomes. Okay, so when you do analysis, of course, the best is to do it at the product level or subheading level. So if you want to have a look at the international trade for rum, you use the code 220840. This is clear. The structure is clear that the more digits, the more specific it becomes, etc. However, there's also sometimes, perhaps you have seen it before, codes that have more than 6 digits. These are called national tariff line. It's country specific. And in my example, for example, in Barbados, 220840 1000. You only talk about rum with the alcohol strength not exceeding 46%. And then 2208409000, you have other rum. So this is only in Barbados because when it's beyond 6-digit level, it's no longer controlled by the World Customs Organization. It's done and managed by the countries themselves. So when you do the international trade analysis, you can only do it at the maximum level of 6-digit level. Okay, so you'll be able to compare other countries, Japan, Thailand, United Arab Emirates, Switzerland, Barbados, Jamaica. If you talk 220840, they are discussing the same thing. It's international standard for rum, 220840. So this is just to make sure that we're clear about the structure, that if you have to do other analysis, you also have to find the right SS code for your product. The right SS code ensure that you're off to a good start for your analysis. Wrong SS code, not so much. So for today, we're going to be talking about 220840, rums and other spirits obtained from distilling fermented sugarcane products. Okay, why this is an important product in the Caribbean? Why is it? Because it's a multi-million-dollar industry that depends on key input from sugarcane that are then fermented, distilled, bottled, branded for consumption across the globe. But it actually has a birthplace in the Caribbean. Okay, the demand is increasing, particularly for premium rum products around the world. So this is why it's an important product for the region. Now, in 2019 alone, CARIFORUM nation exported a total of 295 million US dollars of rum to countries around the world. This is the highest number ever. And if you compare it with the number of 2001, it's 116% increase. So you see how important it is for this particular product for the region. Now, based on the data from Trademap, I was able to discover that top 5 CARIFORUM rum exporter are the following: Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Guyana, Barbados, and Trinidad and Tobago. But there are more. I will show you in Trademap later. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing 4 tools in total. Let me go live online. So close this one. And now we're in Trademap. The first tool that I will present to you is called Trademap. The URL is worldwideweb.trademap.org. So it's a tool that allows you to see the international trade flows, import and export. Okay, we have trade statistics from 2001 until present. If you look at our monthly statistics, we already have trade statistics for July 2020. So it's very robust. We work with national authorities to retrieve the latest trade statistic for you. Why monthly trade statistics is important is because for some certain product, especially perishable products, it has seasonality. So the more frequent the update, the better for the audience or the users to be able to see the seasonality of product and export in a timely manner. Some products that have season is, for example, toys. Okay, if you want to export your toys to, for example, the US, you need to make sure that your product arrived in the US before the Christmas shopping start, which is around October. So you will see that this product is completely seasonal because there's less toy exported or imported during the month of, let's say, July, where it's summer vacation. Or another product that is quite seasonal is, for example, frozen fruits and vegetables in Europe. If you're exporting frozen fruits and vegetables in Europe, you export to Europe in winter months. This is the months that European markets themselves cannot produce those vegetables. So that's why there's a need for frozen vegetables, etc. So seasonality is also available in Trademap as well. So as I mentioned before, the tools is 100% free of charge. You just have to register for an account, and when you register for an account, you will have your name on the top right corner, just like I do right now. When you register as well, you will be able to create your own country group or product groups. So if you only work with specific number of product or specific countries, you will be able to filter and only see the data that is relevant to you. For example, I have created a group for Cariforum, and if I want, within a few clicks, I will be able to retrieve which Cariforum country is the biggest exporter of rum. So first things first, but before we go there, I would like to explain the structure of this page. This is the home page of Trademap, and the first thing that you normally do before any search is to select the trade flow direction. There's import side and there's the export side. So for example, if you're looking for market, you would like to see the market size, the market trends, etc., you should look at the import side. Whereas if you're an exporter and you would like to see who are your competitors, etc., you might want to have a look from the export side. Then you have the first combo box, which is where you have to type in a keyword or a product code, which is the HS codes that we discussed before for your product. So if I type in the keyword, I type in the system knew me too well, but let's try again. RUM rum. The system filters directly, and there are only 2 codes that has the word rum in there. However, what you see is, for example, the second code, I could not read the full description. Now I browse over, I am able to see it. That is good. However, you have also the option to type in the code directly, 220840, and you arrive at exactly the same code. Or if you don't know the code, you can also type in the keyword in there to see full description right here. Rum, other spirits obtained by distilling fermented sugarcane product, 220840. So advanced search also allow you to search at the national tariff line level. As I mentioned before, this is at the national level, so it's managed by the countries themselves. It varies from one country to another. I just want to show you, for example, I type in the keyword rum, I switch to the national tariff line level. Every country have their own description of this product, but what remain consistent is that the first 6-digit level, 220840, is for rum. Now, if it's white rum or dark rum, they could add additional digits and then distinguish between the two. Okay, so just want to be clear, I spent quite a bit of time on HS code because I think it's very important as a starting point of your search. Now I go back. I mentioned to you before about the country group. So how did I find out about CARICOM export of rum? I look at the export side, I type in the product name, and then I select region. This is where all your country group is located. You will see that I have created all types of country group for me. This is for my own use, and one of them is Cariforum. So I'm able to click on it straight away and click on trade indicators. As you can see, within 2-3 clicks, I am able to have the trade statistics aggregated at the Cariforum level. Okay, and I will not see the trade statistic for other country, only the Cariforum country. in my table. So this is how useful it is to have your own country grouped, etc. Now, let me go back to the home and search again and start from the very beginning. Here is the scenario that I have for you. I am a rum exporter from Jamaica looking for different opportunities for my rum in different markets around the world. I would like to know about the global demand for rum, the market trends that has been happening over the last 5 years. I would like to know who are my competitors, etc. So, first things first, to know the global demand, I selected the import direction. I type in the product rum. I leave the country box blank because I'm interested in any country. I don't have a specific market in mind. I have the product and I want to address the markets that have the highest growth, that offer me good opportunities. So I leave it blank and then I click on trade indicators right here. Straight away, I will receive a table that says, I read the title of the table, list of importer of the selected product, which is rum in 2019. What I see straight away that it has many columns. These columns are called trade indicators. These trade indicators have been calculated by ITC to allow you to make actionable decision, allows you to have a better understanding about the market in various aspects, such as the market size, the market trend, and the level of openness of the market. I will discuss later what I mean in terms of level of openness. What I see here is that this row value imported in 2019 is yellow. This is because this current table is currently being sorted by imported value. The first line, which is called the world line, is the aggregated data from all the importing country. We see that last year in 2019, the import of rum reached 1.7 billion US dollars. What you see in front of you, of course, is 1.7 million, but since the value in Trademap is actually in thousands, you have to add 3 more zeros to it. So the number that you see is actually 1.7 billion US dollars. Okay, here we go. And the reason why we also have a quantity data, but the reason why there's no quantity right here is because, as you can see here, the different country has reported the data in different units. Some country reported in tons, some country don't report quantity, such as the US. Some country like Australia reported it in cubic meters. Okay, so since there's a mix between quantity unit, we cannot calculate, for example, the unit value or the aggregated quantity. This is why. Now, what I see right here is number 6. Number 6 is under the column called annual growth in value between 2015 2019. What we can deduce from this particular data is that over the last 5 years, the demand of rum has grown. The demand in value terms has grown by 6%. So it's the product that is in demand indeed. Okay, and another column is the growth in value over the last 2 years. However, over the last 5 years, positive growth 6%. But over the last 2 years, there's a small shrink in terms of growth in value. The growth in value is -1. So a bigger view of 5 years is a +1. The view of the 2 years is less positive, but we can investigate why is that so. Sometimes it could be due to the fact that there's simply less rum to import, because rum heavily depending on the production of sugar, the production of molasses. So this could be the reason as well. So we have to investigate further. I would like to point out that Trademap or any ITC's market analysis tool is an excellent starting point for your market analysis, for your understanding of the market and the competition. However, this is not the only place that you have to find your market information. These are very quantitative. You also need to find qualitative data independently from different sources in order to have a complete market analysis and research. But our tools around allow you to already do half of that through all these tools. Okay, so next column that I would like to discuss is the average distance of supplying country. You see that on average, these countries that you see right here import rum from the country that are approximately 4,991 kilometers away from them, okay? The reason, everybody knows that rum has a birthplace in the Caribbean. So it's very, very likely that it traveled from the Caribbean country. However, the reason why the distance seems so short is the fact that some of them have been bottled in Europe or has been re-exported from a European country to another European country. Example, you know that Rotterdam is a very big port in Netherlands, and most of the people would just send their product to Rotterdam, and the processing will take place in Rotterdam, and they re-export the product to other European countries. So this is why the average distance might be a little bit distorted, but that doesn't negate the fact that average distance, normally these particular trade indicators allow you to see whether the country is usually buying from regional, buying from their neighboring countries, or they normally buy from at the international level. I mean, they import from different regions around the world, okay? The next column is the concentration of supplying country. So this talks about whether or not the country in question is only buying from a few suppliers or they are buying from all different types of suppliers. Whether or not the market is polarized and dominated by only few suppliers, okay? Now, I explained all these trade indicators. Now we're gonna have a look at the countries themselves. What we see right here is that Italy is the world's biggest market for rum, okay? Italy in 2019 imported 305 million US dollars worth of rum from different countries. This translates to 38,000 tons of rum. The average unit value per ton sits around 7,983 US dollars per ton. The unit value that you see right here is a simple mathematic result, dividing the value by the volume, and then you get the average unit value. But it's not a price. Is an average unit value across throughout the 1 year for all types of rum, black, the dark rum, the white rum, the rum in small packages, the rum in bulk. So it's an average across different types. However, what you will be able to see is that Italy average unit value is higher than Spain. So it's very likely that perhaps this particular market is importing premium rum. Okay, I'm not saying that they're importing for their own consumption. Maybe it's for re-export to other European country, but there's an apparent trend in Italy that goes towards a higher quality and higher value rum. Okay, now the next column, what we see is that in 2015, 2019, there's a 57% growth in value for Italy, which is much higher than the world's average. This means that Italy, not only it is the biggest buyers or like the biggest importer of rum, but it is also growing more important because it's growing faster than the world's average. Okay. So in terms of growth in value, 57%. Growth in volume or quantity is 35%. And growth over 2 years is also 34%. You see that you are able to compare the growth in value of 5 years with 2 years to see that it is consistently a growing market. It's a growing market. It's the world's biggest market, and yet it is still growing. Italy has 17.1% market share, and average distance is higher than the world's average. So it imports from different countries around the world. Okay. Now, what's interesting is the concentration of supplying country. It's much higher than the world's average and is higher than the rule of thumb, which is 0.18. When a market concentration is higher than 0.18, it means that the market is highly concentrated. This indicates directly already to you that Italy is currently being dominated by a few countries. They are buying rum from only a few countries, and I can prove that because if I click on Italy right now, I will discover that Italy bought 75.2% of their rum from United States. Okay, so 75.2% rum from the United States. I think since you are in the rum business, you probably know already which big rum company is the US company, is in the United States, and that Italy is buying from them. So this is very, very clear. Italy is an interesting market. It's the world's biggest market, and it's also very, very saturated because it's dominated by American rum. Okay. Right now. So since I'm the exporter from Jamaica, I also would be interested in seeing my country's performance in this world's biggest market. I see that last year, Italy imported 2.5 million US dollars worth of rum from Jamaica. Okay, my market share in Italy is only 0.8%. So 2.5 million US dollars, the import was for 462 tons. The average unit value is only 5,530 US dollars per ton, okay, which is lower than Italy's average of 7,983. Okay, there could be a few things that you can deduce from it. It could be because the fact that it was in bulk. That's why it was shipped in container. To my understanding, in 2012, Jamaica has upgraded the logistic in terms of shipping of rum in bulk, and a lot of them were shipped in bulk. That's why the price will be lower, obviously, than rum that has been bottled already and has its own proper marketing, etc. So this could be the reason why we can see already what kind of export Jamaica is exporting to Italy. On the other hand, perhaps we can have a look at Guatemala. The average unit value is 18,000 US dollars, which is more than double Italy's average. It clearly indicates that Guatemala rum has already been bottled, has already been marketed, etc. So that's why they are able to command premium price. Okay, so already unit value allows you to deduce this kind of analysis. You see that Italy is a growing market, but some countries, some suppliers to Italy is losing the market share. For example, we see this for Guatemala, -5. When you compare, how did I say that that Guatemala is losing market share? By comparing -5 with Italy's average of 57%. Okay. I want you to think that you are walking with your friends and your friend are running, she's running at 57 kilometers per hour. But if you're going backward at 5%, it means you're growing slower, and obviously you're losing important. The difference between their growth and your growth is becoming larger, so you're losing market share. Just I hope this example works. And another thing that you can see here, however, for the country that have growth higher than 57%, which is the average of Italy, like the US, if the one is running at 57 kilometers per hour and the other one is running at 2,000 kilometers per hour, obviously they outrun you. They're faster. They're becoming more important. So this is how you do the analysis. Another country that has become more important supplier in Italy is also Mexico, whose growth rate over the last 5 years is 201%. So 201%, obviously higher than 57. You can already assess what level of competition is happening. You have the US becoming even more important. The growth is higher than that of the average. They were able to command the premium price higher than the average price. And other suppliers such as Venezuela, be it from France, be it from Brazil, are losing market share because they cannot keep up with the pace of Italy at 57%. Okay, I'm going to go back to the last page where you have the list of different countries, the importing countries from around the world. So on top of Italy, which is the world's biggest importer of rum, you can also have a look at Germany. Okay, you see that Germany in 2019 imported 158 million US dollars worth of rum, which was 29,850 tons. Okay, so Germany was the world's third biggest importer for rum. However, there's a decline in the demand there because you can see that the annual growth is -13, whereas the world's average is 6. So there's a decrease in demand in Germany. There's a decrease in quantity as well. And if you compare 5-year with 2-year, the situation has become even worse for Germany. So maybe one could say that Germany is not attractive in terms of market dynamism, okay? But have a look at this. Germany concentration of supplying country is way below other countries. It's at the world's average, 0.08. It's lower than the rules of thumb of 1.8. And if you click into Germany, you will discover that Germany is importing from all different types of countries. So they have an appetite for all the specialty product from different countries around the world. It's not dominated by a single supplier. It's being supplied by, let's see here, you have Spain, Guatemala, US, Italy, Cuba, Venezuela. Jamaica is even there as well. Dominican Republic is also in there. So you have so many countries, they're buying from so many countries. What does it tell you about this market is that they are used to buying from different countries, and their taste and preferences is not dominated by one single brand or one single company, but rather they have this curiosity to buy from different countries, especially as you may know that more and more buyers are looking for specialty rum, premium rum, even more exotic rum. So this is the market that if you're a niche, if you're small, if you produce your rum yourself, etc., if you have a marketing selling point, you'll be able to penetrate this market easier than Italy, which is dominated by the US supplier. I also go back to the last table for all the importers. Another country that I'm interested in, excuse me, this is a table. Another country that I'm interested in is the Netherlands. Why am I interested in the Netherlands? Because first of all, the growth is higher than the world's average. It's yet another market that is experiencing high demand, very dynamic market, growth over the last 5 years, 13%, which is higher than 6, and over the last 2 years, 5%, which is higher than -1. Okay, and also market concentration is not high at all. It's 0.09. It is still lower than the rules of thumb, 0.18. That means it's buying from different suppliers from around the world. So I would like to investigate and look into Netherlands. Now, I have the list of supplying market of rum by the Netherlands, okay? The Netherlands is buying from Belgium. So obviously, this is the re-export from Belgium to the Netherlands. Because we know that most likely that the rum comes from Caribbean and Latin American country. So this is a re-export from Belgium to the Netherlands. The first Caribbean country that we see in the Netherlands is actually Trinidad and Tobago, followed by Dominican Republic, and then Guyana, Barbados, etc. So we're from Jamaica. So I want to have a look at my country's performance in that market. I see that in 2019, Germany imported 4.3 million US dollars worth of rum from Jamaica. Okay, and my market share in the Netherlands is 3.7%. Last year, Netherlands bought from Jamaica 1,908 tons. The average unit value is at 2,286 US dollars per ton. This is slightly lower than the average, which is 2,421, etc. So what you will see right here is exactly the same analysis that I have done before. The fact that it is quite clear that Jamaica, part of their export is actually rum in bulk container, which results in a lower average unit value. And also another thing that would happen that I discover, like mentioned before, that sometimes the producer in the Caribbean would occasionally sell bulk rum to smaller rum brands that do not possess the capital needed to own a production or blending operation. So basically, there's a huge company in the Netherlands called E&A Shear. It's a privately held company located in the Netherlands that has been in the operation since the 18th century. And basically what they do is that they're specialized in blending rum and selling it to big brands and small brands. So this is why perhaps the average unit value of the Netherlands is relatively low because of the operation of this particular company that do the blending themselves, etc. Okay. What I see, if I continue, I see that Jamaica's growth in Netherlands is higher than Netherlands average. So that means that Jamaica is gaining market share in the Netherlands. So there's a momentum right there over the last 5 years. However, there's a little bit of decline over the last 2 years, -17%. For the last 2 years, this could be, again, needs to be investigated further because it could be due to the low production of sugar or molasses, etc. This could be a problem as well, of course. Now, I'm interested in the Netherlands. I know about my country's performance. I noticed all these countries who are my competitors. Some of them, for example, Belgium is gaining market share. Trinidad and Tobago, Dominican Republic seems to be doing very well in the country. So these are my competitors. So I need to know, okay, I'm still interested in the Netherlands and I would like to start selling to the Netherlands. On top of that, I'm not a rum bulk exporter. I have my own company. I distill it, I blend it, I bottle it myself. I do the marketing myself, and I'm looking for distributor in the Netherlands. How do I do that? So I go back to the top and you see this little button right here called company. So you click on it and it will brings you to a company contact module on Trademap. So basically we have company contact details in Trademap, not data. We don't know how much they import, how much they export, but we have their contact information for you to be able to reach out to them. Okay, the data, the company contact information has been sourced from two sources. One is the company is called Compass. The other one is called Dun & Bradstreet. So it's not collected by ITC. We collaborate with them and we disseminate their data. So ITC acquired this data from those two companies. And when we arrive at the product category here, we have to help the system refine further in terms of what type of company we're looking for. So specifically, I'm looking for import, exporter of food and beverages. I'm looking for a distributor because I have my own company in Jamaica. I have my good rum and that I would like to sell. I click. And all of a sudden, I have the list of these companies in the Netherlands who are a distributor of food and beverages, mind you. So the category is quite broad. So what you have to do is you go through the list and search, for example, what kind of product they are buying or distributing or importing, etc. What I have discovered is this company called Fine Drinks BV here. The company is located in the Netherlands in the city of Almere. And there's the website right there. You have the executive names, you have the numbers of employee. They declare themselves as the importer, exporter of food and beverages, and they do distribution mainly. Okay, so I have arrived here. I'm interested. I click on their company's website. I arrived there. Obviously, the website is available in English. I try to get into the website, etc. You must be older than 18, and I am older than 18. So here we go. I learned about the company that they are the premium distributor for national wine, spirits, and syrups. So I look into their spirits. I see the category. Since I'm a rum exporter, I want to know what they're selling already, and I have the list. Compagnie des Indes, the Six Sense, Trois Rivières. So they have all these, they call it rum agricole in the French Guyana. And this one. So basically, like right here, it talks about the rum that they're imported. So I learn about my competitors, and I see that they are not buying rum from Jamaica, and I would like to reach out to them and offer the services. So in a way, the Trademap has brought you into a full cycle that you have done your market analysis and you also can reach out to your partner. Okay, so I'm gonna stop with Trademap right here and take you to another tool, which is called the Export Potential Map. I have mentioned to you before that Export Potential Map is a tool that is forward-looking for the next 5 years. Okay, so here we go. This is Export Potential Map. And it's very easy to use because you can just type in the product name or the country's name, and it provides you the key findings directly. It has a descriptive key finding. So the first question it asked me is that what is the export potential for, and I'm a rum exporter, so I'm just gonna look for an export potential of rum. I see that right here, 220840 rum. It says that the untapped potential of rum around the world, not in a specific market, around the world sits at 934 million US dollars. Okay, so before we go there, I would like to clarify just a few things with you. So basically what happened is that this export potential map, right? It's based on economic models. It's based on economic model to allow you to identify products and markets or supply with export potential. So how does it do that? To do this projection for the next 5 years, how does it do that? What happened is that it takes the trade flow from Trademap. It takes the tariffs information and trade agreements information from market access map, put it with other ingredients such as land endowment, sea access, distance, price elasticity, projected GDP, and then they arrive at this number. So basically, it's the combination of different ingredients so that you arrive at this number. And right now, what happened is that since for the GDP, projected GDP, we took it from the World Bank, and the World Bank has revised it for account for the impact of COVID-19. So what happened is right now you're looking at the numbers that already consider the impact of COVID-19. So it's as recent and as robust as that, okay? So an excellent tool. So next, what happened is that it asked me, we go back to the export potential for rum. Do I want to explore the markets or I want to explore the exporters? Yes, of course, I want to explore the market. In which market I have the highest export potential as a rum exporter? So right now you're looking at the geo map. I'm going to, so basically the bubble here, it looks like a map, right? It's based on the world map, but I much prefer something called gap chart, which looks like this. So you have the export potential for rum. Now, it say at the bottom, there's always the key finding. It say the market with the greatest potential for rum are Germany, Spain, United States of America. This is in this particular gap chart. And you can actually sort it through with the export potential or the actual export or potential to actual export gap. Okay, so there are two things that we have to discuss right here. Based on the economic model, we are able to project the export potential by 2024. So you have this number. For example, Germany, the export potential is at 261.6 million US dollars, right? But what happened is that there's an actual export, and then the difference, what we would discover is the untapped export potential. It might sound confusing right now, but let me show you. I'm from Jamaica, so I'm only interested in Jamaica. I see that as a Jamaican exporter, my greatest potential also lies in Germany. Okay, Germany, the export potential for Jamaican rum sits at 33.2 million US dollars. However, at this point, 2019, my actual export is only 3.8 million US dollars. And this is the number from Trademap. What does it mean? It means that there's a gap between what I could do and what I'm doing right now. So this is what we call the untapped export potential. This means if I am able to change a few things, which I will explain later about potential reasons as to why there are gaps. If I change a few things, I will be able to realize additional 29.4 million US dollars per year up to 2024. This is my untapped potential. This is additional export I could realize, and that's for Germany. For the Netherlands, right now the export potential sits at 14.5 million US dollars, but I'm actually exporting only 2.9 million US dollars. Does this mean if I do things correctly, I could realize additional 11 million US dollars? And this is the same thing that we're talking about for other markets, etc., that you can just browse and you have the numbers, etc. Okay, what I mean by if I just change a few things, okay? We, as an economist, we say that the unrealized export potential may be due to two types of factor. One is the dynamic effects, which is the expected supply and demand, etc. But there are static effects that we could address, or that the government or the policymakers could address. Okay, so one of the reasons is, for example, that the exporters are not able to meet the non-tariff measures that are affecting this particular type of product. For example, they don't have the logistic to do the certification in order to export, or it's because it's too costly to do all those certifications. So if non-tariff measures are reduced, this would help exporter export more, obviously. Then the next possible reason why their untapped potential is probably about price quality positioning that is not in line with the market demands. I have discussed this before. We mentioned that the trend is going towards premium premium rum. But if, for example, I still continue to export only bulk rum, that means I'm losing out on the potential. I am not seeing eye to eye with the market preferences of my target market. If the target market say I want premium and you only selling bulk, you're not reaching your full potential right here. So there could be possibly some sort of promotional assistance, some policies that the government has to do in order to enhance the status of its rum. For example, the geographical identification, apply for the status of Jamaican rums, etc. Those could be all the possibility that for you to be able to narrow the gap between potential and untapped potential. The next one is about the lack of market intelligence. The lack of market intelligence is, for example, I have my rum and I'm just going to export to my traditional market. I'm just going to export to the US. Basically, what is missing is that their decision is no longer data driven. They just export to the traditional market. But if they would have access to things like Trademap, export potential map, or ITC tools, they would know that there are opportunities elsewhere. There are opportunities in Germany. There are opportunities in the Netherlands and in France, in Canada, in Latvia, even in Ghana. Whereas the United States, you already reached your full potential. You already reached your full potential doesn't mean that you have to stop exporting to the US, but it means that you have done so well, and based on the economic model, you have reached the top and you have done better. So it's not a problem. You can continue to go to the US market, but realize that there are opportunities elsewhere as well. And this is exactly what the tools are trying to do, is to help you identify new markets, new opportunities, and activate those market opportunities, of course. Now, another thing that we could do is that switch from gap chart to analyze export potential. This is quite interesting, and the graphs is honestly beautiful. So what you see right here is the ranking. It's the same ranking as what we saw in the gap chart, but there's another dimension that has been added. So the bubble is actually the market size, right? So Germany, obviously the biggest bubble, you can sort the table like that, the demand size. So the bubble represents the demand. So the bigger the bubble, the higher the demand. So you are able to visualize it this way. Second of all, second element is ease to trade. Ease to trade represent by the line that you have right here. The thicker the line, that means it's easy to trade with those country. That means the distance is good. Okay, the distance is good. You have existing trade agreements, you have existing trade relations, etc. You have here Cayman, Barbados. So these are also importers of rum, and they are located nearby. So ease of trade is great. But look at the demand. The bubble is quite small. Okay, so either you sort this particular graph by the demand, like I showed you before, or by ease of trade. The thinner, that means like you have, perhaps, for example, you have trade agreements. So that's already good. That's why it appears in the rank. But the thicker, it also means because it's beyond the trade agreements, you're also close by as well. It's also in terms of the different distance, etc. But the combination between demand and ease of trade becomes a ranking. And this is why Germany has the #1 ranking, because it has trade relations with Jamaica through economic partnership agreement. That means you have preferential access to that market. It has high demand, which is the big bubble, followed by the Netherlands. Netherlands is ranking #2, don't forget. The bubble may not be as big. The bubble is smaller than the US, but in terms of ease to trade or existing economic relations is better than the US, and that's why it's ranking #2, and followed by the US, France, United Kingdom, Russia, Canada, etc. So the combination of demand and also ease of trade render this particular graph. So I'm going to move on to the second part of our presentation, which is about market access condition. Market access condition, how important is this thing? Well, it is quite important because if you have rum, but you cannot meet the requirements of the market, obviously you're not selling it to that market. So this is why the knowledge on market access is extremely important. Now, first of all, there are two things that you need to know about market access condition. There are two types. First is the tariffs. It's pretty clear. It's the number, the amount of percentage that you have to pay, and in the importing country. The tariffs is over the year has declined a lot thanks to the different agreements, different trade and regional agreement that has been in place that has removed tariffs for, especially for developing country, to access the markets such as the EU, etc. On the other hand, what you have is the rise of the non-tariff measures. I call it non-tariff measures, but maybe you have heard it before in other terms, such as non-tariff barriers, etc. We call it non-tariff measures because it's quite a neutral term. We don't believe that all non-tariff measures are bad, because some of the non-tariff measures are actually designed to protect the consumer. For example, if you are exporting avocado, okay, and you use pesticide for your avocado and you sell it to another country and someone ate it and got really, really sick. So you see how the government has the incentive to protect its own people by creating rules and regulations that suppliers has to comply to in order to access their market. That's why we call it non-tariff measures, because it's not always bad, and that's been designed for safety reason, for consumers, etc. Okay, so also market access condition, you might think that like, oh, That's something that will only takes place in the importing countries, okay? But that's not true because because sometimes the market access condition starts at home. Non-tariff measures already start from home. For example, imagine that someone decided to sell a product to another country. Let's say you're trying to sell it to India, okay? You're trying to sell your rum to India. However, your rum has contaminants, okay? Have contaminants in the rum, unfortunately, and the Indians found out about it and they block any more rum from entering the market. You lost the market entirely. So the country, the home country, also have the incentive to do some control in the country before the product is exported. Sometimes if you want, you can call it the market exit condition, and not market access condition, but market exit condition. This is to prevent the reputation damage that could happen to the other products and to be banned from entering that market. So, but just for you to know the limitation in market access map at this point, we do not have market access conditions that are for exporter at home. We have the market access condition from required by the importing countries. And the market access condition that we're talking about, especially non-tariff measures, as you may know, this is legally binding. You have to comply to it in order to access the market. So this is just to be clear about what we're discussing right here. Back to the tools. This is the third tool that I'm presenting to you, where you will discover what type of tariffs are applied to your product, what kind of non-tariff measures are actually will be imposed on your product, etc. Okay, so this is the home page. The URL is worldwideweb.macmap.org, macmap.org. And it's divided into 4 different modules. The first module is access, followed by compare, analyze, and download. Today, I will only talk about 2 modules, which is basically the overview page. For this has been designed oriented specifically for a company. We only provide you the data that you really need to use. However, the analyze and download module are for researchers and policymakers, so that they can crunch the data, they can bulk download the data, etc. Okay, so start with this home page. I will zoom in so that you can see better. You see right here the exporting country. I am from Jamaica. My destination market is the Netherlands. And my product is 220840. Here we go. I click search, and within one click, I'm able to have the overview straight away. First things first, custom tariffs. Okay. There are 2 custom tariffs available, the 2 regimes available. The first one is MFN duties. The MFN duty is when you're a member of WTO. If Netherlands apply one tariff to one country, they have to offer it to every single country, so they cannot be discriminatory. Okay, so this MFN duties is for all countries who all want to export rum to the Netherlands. This is the tariff that will be applied, which is the 0.6 euro, so it's 60 cents by volume and by, so basically this is compound tariffs, etc. is based on the alcoholic volume and also on the quantity. So it's a very complex one. As you can see here, is 60 cents per percentage of alcohol and then per the weight, etc. So we have a different calculation for you. We translate it into percentage. It's around 2.07%. This is the tariff that will be applied. However, if you manage to meet the requirements for the preferential tariffs, such as the rules of origin under the economic partnership agreement, etc., you could enter this particular market 0% tariffs. There's no need to pay tariffs. Okay, so obviously you're very welcome into the market. This shows the level of openness of the market, the Dutch market, in terms of rum imports. So they are very open. And in market access map, you can even see the trade agreements details, and these preferential tariffs is actually based on the EPA of CARIFORUM, EU Economic Partnership Agreement, and there's a certificate that you can click and download, fill out, download, get it stamped, and benefit from the preferential access condition. Okay. If we scroll down, we have the trade remedies. There's no trade remedies. However, as you may know, that sugarcane, obviously, big ingredients into the rum, and some country provide subsidies for sugarcane production, for example. And if this is considered unfair and it arrive at the WTO Court of Disputes, etc., there could be trade remedies, because if the Netherlands, well, since it does not have a rum industry, right? It does not have the rum industry, so it's not going to say anything. But in some cases, when it feels, when the host country, when the target market feels that the product is entering the market at the low cost because of the subsidy and hurting it baby, infant industry, it can impose trade remedies. So additional tariffs, for example, like let's say 100% more tariffs just to level the playing field, etc. But in our case, there's no trade remedies, and it's written right here that the Netherlands does not apply any trade remedies on the selected product. The third part is the regulatory requirement we talked about before, the non-tariff measures. So basically what happened is that even though you're able to enter the market 0% tariffs, you still are required to meet these non-tariff measures, such as the traceability requirements, the origin of materials and part processing history. This is, you could say that the HACCP label is required. HACCP, as you may know, is the hazard analysis and critical control point. So they control the entire processing chain, etc., to be free from hazardous components. Also about the labeling requirement here that you have to meet. Basically, if you want to export to the EU, you have to make sure that your label is visible and word in a language that is easily understood by consumer. You have to list the name which the product is sold. You also have to say that what ingredients go into your rum, including any additives. For example, if you want to make it smell like vanilla and you added vanilla extract, this has to be clearly labeled, the net quantity, the minimum durability date in the specific format. So you cannot, for example, confuse the US format with the EU format. This has to be clear. It also talks about the label must include the information about place of origin, the provenance, where it came from, the production batch, like what is the lot making number, etc. And other requirements that's available, for example, hygienic practice during the production, the microbiological criteria for final product. For example, specifically for rum, it asks that you have to indicate clearly the actual alcoholic strength by volume. This has to be clear and correct. If you do have blending of different types of rum in your bottle, you also have to state it. You also have to indicate if your rum is aged at what is the age of the rum, and then you can only refer to the youngest rum in the blend as well. You cannot use the older rum in the blend in the labeling. So it's very, very important in terms of the labeling and to meet all these requirements. As we can see here, for rum to enter the Netherlands market, there are 13, here is written here, total measures, 13 measures that you have to comply to. And you will find all those information in Market Access Map. Now, moving on to the compare module, I will be comparing market. I click on market. I'm an exporter from Jamaica. Destination market, I'm going to compare everything. I'm just trying to look at every single possible market so that I'm not like, I don't have tunnel vision. I'm really looking everywhere. And then I type in my product code, which is 220840. I click search. And what I will get is that directly I will get the table. Now, the table sometimes, as you can see in Trademap, table can be long like this. You know, you have to go through like 300 entries. That's too long. So what you can do to speed up the process is that you can click on map right here. We have different indicators in place. So for example, the first one, effectively apply tariff. So it's the lowest tariff available. As you can see here, the darker the color, these are the market that have high tariffs, right? So for example, if I want to start, you can see here, this country, Egypt. Can you see that it has 3,000% tariffs on rum? So it might not be the market that is open, the most open to your rum, indeed, right? So that means as well, since this product is probably controlled due to the religious reason, etc., this product will only be, and also because of the high tariffs, the product will only be bought by people with enough disposable income. So in a way, you can deduce that maybe this is the place that would only require extremely high quality rum, premium rum in extremely premium packaged, etc. Or you have to sell it directly to hotels. So this kind of deduction that you can make just simply looking at the tariffs. Now you look at India. India has the 150% tariffs on rum, and on top of that, numbers of non-tariff measures, 148 non-tariff measures. So this might not be the most open market for you, as you can see here. Also, Thailand, 60% tariffs with 85, no, with non-tariff measures. We don't have the information right there. And you can even zoom it in to by region right here. So you see Morocco apply tariffs, 49%, number of NTM 60. So in terms of user friendliness and easiness to understand the information, I think is much better in the map view right now. Okay. So today I just want to present you this, that Market Access Map provides you information on tariffs and non-tariff measures, existing one that you have to comply right now. So I will go on to the fourth tool, which is called ePing. And ePing has a different user management system than other ITC's market analysis tool. So you will have to register for an account again, but there's an advantage to this because in ePing, if you register, so for example, I already have an account and I'm going to log in to show you. I logged in, and what I see here is that ePings allow you to only receive the notification for the product that you want. You don't need, if you don't need to see all the notification for all different types of product, it's not a problem. You can set it up that it sends you a notification by week only product of your interest. So for example, I'm only interested in rock lobster. I'm only interested in cocoa beans, and I will only receive the notification in case there's any regulatory requirement change for those two products. Okay, just to clarify again, EPing is collaboration between World Trade Organization, International Trade Center, and the United Nations, because it's based on the system that WTO members must inform each other when they plan to change product requirements and provide opportunities for other countries to comment. Okay, so they have to provide notification, and so then the countries who are affected, for example, if there's a requirement change for cocoa, then all the countries who export cocoa will be affected by it. They can get together and discuss and provide a consolidated comment. And sometimes maybe there will be deferment of the time when the market, when the requirements come in vigor, etc. So that's a possibility as well. Okay, because the usefulness is that EPing have this inquiry point, which is located on this right here where I'm pointing. This inquiry points, you as a user, you can discuss about the upcoming changes with different stakeholders or even government officials. Okay, and then they can bring it up. They will, these government official will serve as a liaison between national stakeholders and the WTO members. So basically, EPing is all about dialogue between the public and the private sector. They come together to have a policy and requirements that are not discriminatory. Okay, so this is quite clear. So let me show you how to use EPing. Now, I search for notification, and what happened is that you can filter by different area, the notifying members. I'm a rum exporter. I don't really have any particular market in mind, except I'm very interested in the Netherlands. But I'm going to keep it here, all members. I'm interested in both SPS, which is sanitary, phytosanitary measures. I'm also interested in TBT, technical barriers to trade. This include labeling and the technical requirements for a product, etc. So I'm interested by all types of new rules, all requirements, etc. I can type in by product name or use the HS code, and I will use HS code. Again, I will use HS code RUM. Okay, so all of a sudden the system filter it to only the product that are for RUM. Okay, so RUM is 2208 for. I'm having a little problem with my system again. Doesn't seem to. Okay, 04T. Here we go. This is RUM. I got it. So basically, the latest notification for product requirement change actually dated to 31st of October last year. So this is not the product that experiencing a lot of or frequent new market, new product requirements, etc. But if we just dive into it, basically we can look at the change that will happen. We click on the document, and it said that the requirement change will be about labeling. Okay, it prevents deceptive practices, consumer protection, protection of human health, safety, quality requirements. So it's basically making changes in terms of the labeling. So you have to go into the link and read the petition, etc. that has been submitted by Uganda to the WTO. So basically, in terms of labeling, right? I have a story for you. So in some countries, for example, there are practices like the UK. They make sure that, for example, that your label which is alcoholic for alcoholic product, does not look too child friendly, does not appeal to children. So it should not look cartoonish, etc. For example, so this is to prevent confusion, or that children decided to buy this particular product misleading, they thought it was for them, etc. So this is also something that labeling covers. So the type of description that you provide in your product, whether it's deceptive or not, etc. Also clearly mention the ingredients, the alcoholic volume, etc. needs to be complied. So this is basically the EPing is applicable for all products. If you want to look for other product like cocoa, you can, of course. If you want to look for another product, cars, everything is possible. So, but don't forget that it's forward looking. So basically, if for cocoa, you see that the latest notification came from Chinese Taipei, and it was from 9th of September this year. So it basically less than 10 days ago, etc. And it talks about that the exporter has to get additional certificate to prove that their product has not been exposed to different types of disease, etc. So you can see that this is due to COVID-19 as well, so that the country put in additional requirements, require additional certificates, etc. So it's an ongoing and ever-changing landscape, trade. So that's why you have to stay on top of the game, and that's why these tools are made for you to stay on top of the game, stay ahead of the game, and make a data-driven decision, and not purely based on your instinct, etc. These significantly increase your chance in terms of success. So I finished my presentation, but I would like to discuss a few questions that has been submitted to me, etc. So we have one question on Trademap from Lucan. Lucan said, would it be possible to view a comparison between rum exports and that of other spirits in a particular country? Certainly. So basically you can take you can compare between different products. So that's what I would do right now. So I go back to start. I would go back to home and search. Okay, the home and search page, which is the first page. I remove all the criteria before. Lucan have asked for, is it possible to see the different import of different spirits in a country? So let me have a look at, for example, Switzerland. In terms of the product, we all know that if we go back to the PowerPoint presentation, we look at this one, we see that spirits and liquor is in 2208, okay? So we're gonna type in 2208 so that we'll be able to see the other types of spirit and liquor later. 2208, Netherlands. No, I prefer Switzerland. Let's do Switzerland. I would be interested because, as you may know, ITC, the International Trade Center, is actually located in Switzerland. So let's have a look at Switzerland, our host country. So I want to see what kind of spirits and liquor Netherlands import. So basically right now, by default, you see the data by country. So you see all this list where the Netherlands buy their spirits and liquor from. But what you can do is you can change to by product instead. And now, even though the search is at the 4-digit level, which is 2208 for all types of spirits and product, you're able to see that Netherlands import the spirits and liquor that Netherlands imported the most is actually whiskey. 54 million US dollars of whiskey was imported by Switzerland, not Netherlands, my apology, Switzerland in 2019. This is followed by, you see here, the description is not complete. You can expand the label. You will see that it's 2208.90. It's the other types. So basically the other types that are not listed here, not liquor cordial, spirit obtained by distilling grapes, wine, grape mark, gin and Geneva, vodka. So it's the others, okay? Some that are fallen into this category. And if you're truly interested, you can expand it to national tariff line, where you will have more information. And don't forget that national tariff line is managed by the country. So we have a look, like I mentioned, Lucan, you can compare between different products, because as you can see right here, that Switzerland is the market that pivot towards the most for whiskey, followed by liquors, and rum is actually the last within the same headings at 13 million US dollar, 13.7 million US dollars. So you see that this particular market is dominated by whiskey, which is another type of liquor. I hope that I answer Lucan's question directly. And if you want, if you're not interested in any country, you just want to know the landscape of the world of spirits and liquor, you can change from Switzerland to the world. And you will see that, again, at the world level, whiskey seems to be the most popular spirit liquor. You see? This 12 billion US dollars. Okay, the world of spirits and liquor has been dominated by whiskey, followed by spirit obtained by distilling grape wine or grape mark. This is 7 billion, and again is followed by the others category, liquors and cordial, vodka also at 3.2 billion, followed by rum at 1.7 billion US dollars. So you have the whole landscape of the different types of liquors and spirit. Trademap is able to enable you to do that as well. Now, is there any additional question that you would like to ask before perhaps I can close this session? I'll be happy to answer any question right now. Just I'm having a look at the chat, and it seemed that Hannah has been answering question. And don't forget that if in case you have any additional question, you can always write to us. Our email address is located at the bottom of every page. It's marketanalysis@intrasend.org. Right here. You can send an email to us. You can stay in touch with us through our Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. We have our own channel on YouTube where you will find all the video tutorials. All the video tutorials for Trademap, MacMap, Export Potential Map, etc. I have been notified that Felix have his hand up, and perhaps Felix, could you please share with us your question?
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, so there are no more, there aren't any more questions?
I believe Hannah is so efficient. She answered everything. I only have one question from Lucan.
All right, great. So if we have covered all the questions, I think it was a good session, and Hannah's efficiency has proved quite well in responding as quickly as she did. So
Sorry, I see some more questions right now coming in.
Okay, sure. Well, let's take the time, sure.
So we still have some time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam, if you want to go over how do I access the code that I may wish for a product? Sorry, I'm answering live. Yeah, how to find the code, the product codes again?
How to find the product code. Thank you very much for your question. So basically there are different ways. First things first, you can type in the keyword, and automatically the system will filter and show you only the codes that contain that word, right? But the problem is you cannot read the entire description, so that could be dangerous, because sometimes the description is actually towards the end. For example, I give you the example, wine. There's a code for wine in a bottle bigger than 2 liters, and the description that talks about 2 liters is really towards the end. You cannot see it from the description. So it's better to go to advanced search and try to type in the keyword. And because, as you may, I don't know if you know this, but the HS code, they use the language that is very, very technical, and even some word is in Latin word. So, but what Trademap has done is that they have tried to map different everyday language with the custom language already. So this is where you can type in your keyword. So for example, if you're an exporter of handbags, it will show you all the codes that contain the word handbags. So for example, this one's 4202221 is handbag for patent leather, and the 4202222 is actually for handbags with the textile material. So if you would have typed in the keyword only in the combo box in the home and search page, you will not be able to see the entire description, and you probably made the mistake because you're exporting handbag with textile, but you actually analyze doing all the analysis per patent leather bag. So I would highly recommend that you try to find the HS code using our advanced search. How do I subscribe to ITC and ePing? Yes, so basically it's ITC tools. First of all, Hannah have mentioned that you should go to marketanalysis.intrasend.org, and here's you can register for an account. There's a button right here, Felix, that you can register for an account, and it's entirely free of charge. We have a system that detects that you're actually from developing countries, so it's entirely free. You will not have to pay 1 single cent, and it will continue to be free forever, as far as I can tell you. And then for ePing, right? ePing is actually on the top right corner as well, where you can click on registering. It's a 2 different client or user management system. That's why you have to register twice. But for other tools like Trademap, Market Access Map, Export Potential Map, Procurement Map, Market Price Information, etc., the tools that are exclusively ITC, you only have to register once. But in order to use ePing, you have to register separately. Is there any other question? I'll be happy to answer. I think we still have a bit more time, but I will not keep you here if you don't have any question. In addition to this, I would like to inform you that we are recording this session, and you will be shared. The video recording will be shared, and plus there's another webinar coming on the 30th of September, which is on the sources and condiments. So if you know of anyone who will be interested in that particular session, please do let us know. Feel free to register with SEDA. They'll be happy to assist you.
Okay. Well, I think, yes, we can close. And as you rightly said, Pachaya, we have the next webinar, which will deal with condiments and sauces. So thank you very much, everyone, for your participation. And once again, on behalf of Caribbean Export and International Trade Center under the UKTP program, we are really pleased that we were able to have this session with you. And as Pachaya said, they are open to sending emails, questions to them if you need any further clarity. And we know that both the International Trade Center and Caribbean Export is committed to the continued development of the private sector, and we see this as a very important task, a very important tool that you have at your access. So do not hesitate to ask any further questions and see how best we can continue to work with you. So as we close, just to say, stay safe, everyone, and all the best. And thanks again for participating. And importantly, sorry, one other thing, the survey that will come out immediately after the session closes, that is we think is also another important element as we seek to ensure we deal with the issues that are relevant to you. So please do not forget, and we want as much responses on the survey so that we can continue to craft interventions that are relevant to you. So please fill out the survey after and submit to us, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much and have a good day, good weekend. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Stay safe, everyone. Surveys.